Hi guys, thanks for tuning into my channel. This week for my For You Friday video, I am going to be trying to address the question if now is a good time for you guys to buy. Alright, so I guess this one is kind of a tangent. By the way guys, so ready for fall. I mean, if you don't notice, the hat, the scarf, I love fall, live for fall. Anyway, so jumping right in, this week I'm doing kind of going off of a tangent, mostly because I get this all the time. This is the number one question or number one statement that I get with everyone that I interact with that finds out that I'm a real estate agent, or they already knew and they're just like, it's a crazy market. And yes, it is a crazy market. But is it a good time for you to buy? Absolutely. I mean, there's some situations where you might be working on building your credit or paying off some debt or something like that. So right now you are not pre-approved or able to buy. So in those cases, obviously, I do think you need to work on that kind of stuff. But right now, everyone tells me they are going to wait for the market to collapse or our bubble to burst, and then they're going to buy houses for $50,000 again, just like last time. And I don't know if I want to say I hope that happens because obviously that hit our economy really hard. A lot of people lost their jobs, and I don't want that to happen. Do I want house prices to be more affordable? Absolutely. But the reality of it is that they're not, or they're not $50,000 anymore. But also we could say that 100 years ago, I mean, houses, you could buy land in a house for $10,000 or something, but the cost of living was cheaper and your wages were less. Like, this is just natural progression, honestly, which I don't think people realize that. Like, I mean, even it's compared to gas prices, car prices, like everything's gone up. It's not just house prices. But I also want to talk about the bubble that they say we're in, or the housing market is going to crash like last time. So there's been, I mean, we all know the economy crashes every now and then. But also like in 2008, that is the most recent recession that really hit us really hard. And that's the one everyone remembers. And so that's what I think everyone is thinking of now. When that recession hits again, house prices are going to drop. But historically, that is one of 15 recessions, or I think there was 2 where house values kind of dropped, but like they keep coming back. How about that? So like the recession is that it's only happened 1 or 2 times out of all of our recessions that house prices have dropped, and 2, like it gains that value back. So that's what my number one thing is. That I try and explain to people is that you're always going to need somewhere to live. Always. You're going to need somewhere to live, whether that's renting an apartment or renting a house or renting a townhouse or owning a house or townhouse or living in a camper. I know a lot of people are doing that right now and it's great for them. So do you. But I think my main point is that you're always going to need somewhere to live. Always. So whether you're paying your mortgage or you're going to be paying your landlord's mortgage, while you are owning or paying your house, you're just putting that equity into your pocket versus putting it into a mortgage or putting it into your landlord's pocket. And how do you think they became landlords? Like they took that first step of buying. It could have been their house or maybe even an investment. They might have started there with that investment property and renting it out. But a lot of people, they buy a house. It's small, it's their starter house, it's just something to get them going, and then they turn that into a rental, or they sell it later down, take that equity and put it as a down payment for their future house. Like, that's one thing that blows my mind, is that people always, I get it, you want a nice house, right? I get that. I'm there too. Your first house is just never gonna be your end-all dream-all house, and it's honestly the first step into getting your dream house, because you get that, it's the best asset that you can have, and you're always going to need to live somewhere. And the reason I keep saying that is because like our house payment is the same amount as what we were paying to live in an apartment. So why would I not buy now, pay my own mortgage, and I already have at least $100,000 in equity? Like, it's only been a year, which I know this is a crazy market, and that's kind of what's happening, is that prices are going up like that, you're not going to see that all the time. But it is a long-term investment. Like, people just keep thinking just because the last few years you've been able to buy your house and sell it 2 years later and make $100,000. Like, that's just what people are, I feel like, getting in their head. Their mentality is that they're going to buy and sell it down the road and make all this money. No, like, this is an investment. Like, it needs to be long-term. I mean, that way you get the most for your money when you do decide to sell it, or when you go to rent it out. And even if it's, it just blows my mind. I don't know how else to explain it, is that you're always going to need somewhere to live, and you could be paying the same amount to own a house and be saving money and gaining equity and gaining that financial freedom down the road, or you can keep renting. Then what? There's no guarantee that your rent's going to be the same next year when you have to renew your lease. It could go up another. My friend, her rent went up $250 a month this year. She was paying $1,500 and it went up to $1,750. The house didn't change. It probably isn't even in any better condition. And it went up $1,750. But if you get a mortgage, you're paying the same amount for the rest of that mortgage. Like, you don't have to worry about next year and what your rent's going to be. And you also know you have that savings account, that equity in your house if anything does happen. I don't understand why people won't buy. Also, I want to say, because everyone says house prices are so ridiculous right now, and I agree, they're really high. But do I think they're going to lower a lot? No. Because there is the supply and demand. We have low inventory. I watched an economist, and he said it's going to take builders 6 years continuing at the rate that they are of building houses, which is, just pumping them out as much as they can. It's going to take them 6 years to meet the demand that we have right now. So house prices are still going to keep going up. And people that are in Idaho, I know, I'm an Idaho native, and I don't hate it because I love seeing that our community is growing and people have realized how beautiful it is to be here in the way of life. But at the same time, I get it. Like, you're like, oh, I don't want anyone from out of Idaho moving in. But guys, it's not just here. We think it's just here, and it's driving everyone else out of the market in Idaho, and it sucks. I get that that's the way you feel, but it's not just here. It's everywhere. Look at the statistics in every state. Like, maybe they haven't had a 10% growth this last year, but maybe they had an 8% growth. Like, still, it's not just us. Don't feel like it's just us. Don't feel like we're being pushed out, we're being bullied, because it's across the country. Everyone here is looking for somewhere to live. That is the real problem, is that there is not enough rentals and there are not enough houses for everyone that needs somewhere to live. That is the number one problem. And I want to talk about, because when we bought our house in 2014 for $130,000, our payment was like $850 a month. I know, and crazy. That's what our apartment was. And I looked up the other day, our apartment that we were renting is now $1,200 a month. So that's just saying something, that I'm telling you that rent is not guaranteed. It can go up at any time. But we bought that house for $850. This house that we're in, that we bought in 2020, it's double the price that we bought, almost double the price, and our payment is $900. So a house that is double what we bought, 6-7 years ago, and our payment is basically the same. Like, I know that house prices they seem really large right now, but our interest rates, I know you keep hearing interest rates, and how does that affect you? It affects your payment like that. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, is that yes, house prices are higher than they were in 2014, but interest rates are so much lower that it kept our house payment virtually the same. So I think if you guys are deciding whether you need to rent, or you need to renew your lease for another month, or you're trying to decide if you should buy, I absolutely think you should talk to a lender, because you don't know what your payment, like, yes, you might say $400,000 for a house. That's crazy. I could never afford that. Go talk to a lender, because maybe you can, and maybe it costs just as much as your rent does. So that's why I'm saying you should probably start, if you want to buy. I don't think there's a reason that you should stop. Also, 2 years ago, I was getting the same thing. I was getting that I am going to wait till the market crashes and house prices go down. 2 years ago, a house that's $400,000 now was $200,000 then. So the cost of waiting is crazy. Like, you could have bought a house 2 years ago when you were waiting for the market to crash, and now it's that same house that you're going to buy is $200,000 more. So you lost out on that $200,000 in equity, and you have to pay more for it. So, and interest rates were higher 2 years ago. So that payment is probably the exact same payment that you're going to have now. Because let me explain to you. So our house, like I said, $130,000 in 2014. Our interest rate was 4%. Our interest rate on a house that's double is 2.8. Our payment is $900 and our interest rate is 2.8. So a house that is double what we paid for back in 2014 in cost, and our interest rate is only 1.2% lower than what it was before. Like, if we had the same interest rate, our payment from 2014, our payment should be double, right? Because we paid double for that house. So our payment should be like $1,600 a month if we had a 4% interest rate. Now with the 2.8%, our payment is $900. That's the difference, I guess, that a lot of people, because you hear, oh, interest rates are so great, you don't really see how it's applicable until that, I guess. Someone saying, like, look, this is what it did for me. It kept my payment at $900 instead of going to $1,600. So that's my number one. Also, I think if you're looking to buy, the fall and the winter is honestly the best time. Because I know no one wants to move during the winter or when your kids are in school, but there's less competition. And with real estate, we go in waves, spring, summer market is usually the craziest time for us because that's when everyone is listing their house. That's when people are buying because it's easier to move when it's warm out. It's easier to move when the kids are out of school and you don't have to try and coordinate picking them up and stuff like that, and you can get their help. So I think if you're thinking of buying, now might be a great time for you because there's going to be less competition as people are trying to figure out the school year in the winter and the holidays and stuff like that. So you might be able to get a better deal right now, and there'll be less competition. So you don't have to worry as much about people going $50,000 over asking price and having to make up an appraisal difference. But yeah, get on here because I feel like so many people are missing out on the good opportunities that are coming up or that are right around the corner from them. And I think honestly the first step is talk to a lender. If you need a lender, I would love to send some over your way so you can talk to multiple lenders like I've always talked about. Make sure you're getting the best interest rate for you, the best fees for you, and honestly just the best program for you, and seeing where you're at. And honestly, if you're not ready to buy now, like I said, if you need to build your credit or you need to pay off some debt, you don't know what that is until you have your credit pulled and looked over by a lender, because they're going to be able to tell you. So yes, I think right now is a great time to buy, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. But if you don't even take those first steps or start asking, you will never know. So sorry, this For You Friday was kind of a tangent, but I'm just trying to explain to you that why would you rent when you could buy, for one, and two, what are the first steps? And the fall time is perfect time to get started. So if you have any questions or you need any help, let me know, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful weekend.